So hi, my name is Shannon Spanhake, and sorry about my voice. I just got back from South by Southwest, so I'm surprised I'm even standing. I work for the mayor in the city and county of San Francisco, and as Tanya mentioned, I'm his deputy innovation officer. Just some quick background. San Francisco, unlike Chicago, is quite a small city. We're just 49 square miles, but in that small space, we have a massive tech industry. So when Mayor Lee was elected, he decided that the most innovative city of the US also needs the most innovative government. So he created the nation's first chief innovation officer role, of which he appointed Jay Nath, who cannot be here today, but he is a total rock star, and you should all look him up. And I was appointed as his deputy. So just some quick background. I was trained as an electrical engineer, and I was sort of on the side of building civic technologies before trying to enable them. So this was a technology that I built in grad school. It enabled measuring air quality with your mobile phone. It was a citizen science technology. It was meant to create an opportunity for citizens to challenge the empiricism of the data of their government, as well as collect their own, to have agency in the production of knowledge, as well as add a layer of accessibility and legibility to environmental data, which is looks like that. And so really this technology was meant to scale to the demand of population growth and urban sprawl. So in most cities, their pollution monitors are really expensive, so there's too few of them. And as population increases, the technology is expensive and it's old, so it often decreases. So this enabled the technology to do exactly that, scale as people needed it. So that's just a little quick background. So back to the office. As the innovation office, we really look at innovation to drive economic growth as well as government efficiency, and look at how open government can help to do some of those things. So just some quick facts. Last year, we're basically two people, and we had no budget, and we like to call ourselves a startup within government. That's actually been really exciting because it allows us to take a lot more risk than if we were using the general fund. So because we have such limited resources, we try to follow two rules all the time. The first is that we do everything through partnerships. We're constantly leveraging partner networks. And it's not just public-private partnerships, but also people partnerships. We really believe that people are many cities, our cities in particular, greatest asset, and we're constantly asking, what can we do to enable them to do? And then the second is we always try to make what we call the platform play. And that's when you have a limited budget, you can't really invest in one-offs. You have to invest in the innovation that can generate more innovations. So how do you invest in the platforms that will create opportunities for others to innovate? So I'll just give a couple examples of how we're doing that. The first is open data, which Chris Vian is in the audience and can probably talk more about than I can because it was under his leadership that this happened. But we were the first city in 2009 to legislate open data, and not just making it public, but making it machine readable, of course. So since that's happened, we've had great progress. We've had over 200 data sets put on our API, and we have a citywide apps catalog, which have over 100 apps on it. And the really great thing about this is these 100 apps have been, they deliver government services, and all at zero direct cost to government. And another interesting part of the story, one that I'm particularly interested in, is some of these apps have become products and they've become companies. So now we've been able to demonstrate that by opening up an existing asset that the city had, we're driving economic growth and we're creating jobs. So this is something I don't think that's talked about too much in the open gov world. But I'll talk a little bit more about it in a second. So this is just one of the companies. It's called 100 Plus. They use our open data to power their product. So more and more companies and startups are relying on this asset that we're providing them. So just some of the challenges to implementing or maintaining a program like open data. First of all, they are expensive. And they really require cooperation amongst agencies that a city like San Francisco just doesn't typically have. And it's not really anyone's day job. Unlike the city of Chicago, who I believe does have a chief data officer, we haven't had one. So it's a big ask, asking middle managers, even upper managers, to take time out of their regular responsibilities to, and then you have to do this open data thing, which I think Rajesh brought up a really interesting point about some of the resistance that you find. And then the fourth is just sustainability. How do we make these apps and these programs sustainable over the long term so that it's, after all this buzz and hype is done, like this program continues to exist. So based on kind of taking that assessment of lessons learned in the couple years that we've been doing this, we came up with some to-dos for ourselves. The first was to bring on a chief data officer. So we amended our open data legislation just this past year, and part of that legislation is to open up this position. And then the second part of the amendment is to create a network of chief data coordinators so that in every department there will be a data coordinator. This sounds like a really simple and obvious thing, but we hadn't done it before, but we're hoping it will create that kind of cohesion through this community of data coordinators. And then the third is really looking at open government towards open innovation, so really that economic development piece that I think is really important, and that talks to the sustainability. Again, these programs aren't cheap, and I think that the city is willing to carry the kind of price burden for a little while, but at some point, can we look at alternate funding models to support these programs? Can we leverage other types of partners to make the program more sustainable? With that in mind, when I took this job, because my background was really in sensor networks that use kind of hard infrastructure, I was really interested in how do we extend open government beyond data? How do we, with the success of open data, how do we look at what other assets the city has that are sort of being underutilized to be open? Could we open source our sidewalks, our lampposts, our rooftops? What would a program look like? So we're spinning up living innovation zones, it's called, and basically we'll be declaring different assets such as lampposts or buses or rooftops, and also geographic zones around the city as these living innovation zones. And these zones are meant for technology companies, startups, designers, makers to be able to demonstrate or test their products or prototypes kind of in the real world. So as you can imagine, the risk manager and the city attorneys hate this, but we are working very closely with them, and they're actually kind of playing ball with us. So, I mean, this program is going to happen, which is very exciting. It really has 4 goals, and that's every city agency, we get bombarded like with 50 phone calls a day from tech companies who want to demonstrate their technology in the city. We don't have a good way of doing that. Even city charter has language about how to pilot technology, so it's hard to do. And we basically just give them the runaround. Like I send them to the planning department or to the MTA, and they never get anywhere. So we're hoping that this program will help them provide kind of a one-stop shop for them. And then the second is companies really do need that real world, to collect that real world evidence before they can get that next round of funding. It's really important. It was important for my startup and for many of the startups in the city. So we're hoping to kind of provide these assets for them to do that. And then also we're San Francisco, but you don't really feel like it's a tech city when you walk through the streets, right? You don't see Twitter's logo and Zynga's logo. So how could we have sort of a layer of innovation in the streets of this city so that it really reflects what we are? And then just placemaking through prototyping. So I'll skip through the mechanics because I'm running out of time. Sorry.
Meet Sydney, a recent college graduate with sharp skills and hope for the future. Unfortunately, along with 1.5 million new grads, Sydney is struggling to land his first job. Meanwhile, city budgets are being cut, leaving city programs without essential skills. Because skilled workers need experience, while city programs need usable skills, potential for government innovation emerges. San Francisco presents SkillVille, an innovative program that provides work experience for job seekers by matching their skills with opportunities to contribute to important city projects. Here's how it works. This is a SkillVille badge, a digital merit verifying work experience. SkillVille works with employers to define the skills they are currently in need of. Then SkillVille creates badges that match those needs with civic opportunities. Employers add incentives to badges by attaching rewards, such as mentoring workshops, networking events, or job interviews. Then SkillVille matches Sydney with opportunities to gain the experience that he needs. After Sydney accepts the opportunity and lends his skills to the task, he earns a badge that verifies his experience and is also awarded an interview. Job seekers love SkillVille because it gives them work experience and builds their networks. Companies love SkillVille because it provides new workers that can hit the ground running. And cities love SkillVille because it brings new skills and creativity to projects while increasing collaboration between citizens and local government. San Francisco is well positioned to develop SkillVille, which will be free, available, and easily adaptable to the needs of cities across the nation. SkillVille, a city that works.
So I just wanted to throw that in there. We're looking at opening our data, our infrastructure, as well as just our city bureaucracy, because there's something really important that, kind of opening up these opportunities to really work in the lower levels, the operational parts of the city, so that it's not just shiny apps fixing, although important, potholes, but really looking at how to make government do better. So then I think I just have one more slide, which is just, the future of open in San Francisco government. So one of the things we're really looking at is how do we make innovation just sustainable within a city? So we're looking at adding a chapter to our admin code just for innovation, as well as legislating the chief innovation officer position so that regardless of who the mayor is, this position continues. And then again, going beyond data, looking at physical infrastructure, opening up those assets. And really this thing about participation in the lower levels of government, in the operations, and really looking at the city as an API. Kind of, as an API, what do you get access to, and who gets access to it, and not just using the data, consuming the data to produce apps with it, but working with us to even kind of produce the policies. So our Living Innovation Zone policy, our open data policy, we've put them both up on GitHub. We hold policy hacks, which are like hackathons, except we invite citizens to basically help us shape this piece of policy. And then just the last area, really open government towards open innovation. How do we start measuring impact of this? I heard someone say the number of apps produced. We often use volunteer hours, but really how do we start measuring the spillovers and the network effects so then we can actually start looking at other types of funding models? I mean, are social impact bonds an opportunity? What could a relationship with the private sector be? So thank you.